Joining us today is an award-winning keynote speaker, radio host, and best-selling author, Jim Beach. Jim is known for his unique perspectives on entrepreneurship and success, and he's back with a new book that has a truly provocative title, The Real Environmentalist: How Wayne Elliott and Other Capitalists Will Save the World. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
Absolutely. Your book, The Real Environmentalist, has a very direct and perhaps controversial thesis. What inspired you to write a book arguing that capitalists rather than activists or governments will save the world?
Well, I met some of the heroes, one of the heroes, Wayne Elliott, there in the title, and was blown away by his accomplishments and the fact that no one knew who he was. But he has done more for recycling than probably any other individual out there. And people don't know it. And so I wanted to write a book about him. And during that process, I discovered that there are 216 other American for-profit capitalist entrepreneurs that are solving the environmental problem right now. Each one of them is doing something different, something that is their passion, something that they discovered along the way. But when you take the entire mosaic of all of them, I believe the problem is going to be solved.
And many people, Jim, you know this, view capitalism and environmentalism as fundamentally opposed. Can you explain your core argument for how profit-driven innovation ultimately leads to better, more sustainable environmental outcomes?
So if the government is funding this, or you have to raise money for another year of funding for Greenpeace, you're always raising money, and that becomes your primary objective. However, if you have customers who are gladly paying you money, it's a whole different ballgame. When you start becoming an entrepreneur and actually solving a problem, well, then people will gladly give you their money. That's the beauty of entrepreneurship. I love your product. I don't care who you are. Here's the money. Give it to me. Give it to me. And that's the beauty. The fundraising mechanism, the way the entity perpetuates itself, is just different, and it's better method. The system is better with entrepreneurship. You're not constantly begging. Instead of begging, you're satisfying customers.
We're going to dive a little bit deeper into that in just a moment. But what's one example of a current capitalistic-driven innovation that you believe is making a significant and measurable impact on a major global issue such as climate change or pollution?
Well, let's go with the hero, Wayne Elliott. He discovered how to recycle alkaline batteries and spent 20 years and 20 million of his own dollars doing that. He started when he was 14, 15, working in a shipyard, recycling ships. And for the last 50 years, he's been the only ISO certified ship recycler. And he goes out there and buys aircraft carriers and recycles them. And along the way, he had this battery problem. And so he spent $20 million to solve that problem too. That's an environmental hero, isn't it?
Absolutely. I'm chatting with the author of The Real Environmentalist: How Wayne Elliott and Other Capitalists Will Save the World. It's Jim Beach that we're chatting with over here. So Jim, you sort of alluded to this a moment ago, but what do you believe is the biggest mistake that traditional environmental groups make when trying to affect change?
Oh, the biggest mistake is the big catastrophe of the day. If you don't solve the problem now, the world's going to end by 2030, and we've had these kind of guesses, projections since the 70s. And once you've heard them 10 or 15 times, they kind of, turn into the boy that cried wolf, right? And so I know the world's not going to end by 2030. There are many examples of environmental problems that are being ameliorated, solved. The Netherlands is 1/3 underwater, but the country is, doing just fine. The parts that are underwater are dry today and have been for hundreds of years. They figured out how to solve it. And I think that other entrepreneurs will solve other problems, and the government, the best thing they can do is get out of the way.
For an entrepreneur listening who's passionate about sustainability, what's the best piece of advice that you could give them on how to build a business that's both highly profitable and also helpful to the environment?
Well, you've got to solve an environmental problem, and there's lots of them. And most of the discoveries have come out of some knowledge of chemistry or physics or something. If you get some knowledge of the sciences, you're more likely to figure it out. One of the heroes in the book, Gator Halpern, was in a chemistry class with a buddy of his, and they looked at each other and said, couldn't that make coral grow faster? And now their company grows coral 50 times faster than God does. And they can go in and replenish a reef, repair a reef overnight. It's an amazing solution for profit.
It is. Jim, lastly, looking ahead, where do you see the next great entrepreneurial opportunity to solve an environmental problem and create massive wealth in the process?
Cleaning the air, cleaning the ground, cleaning the water, providing more water and more power. We are going to need tremendous solutions in the power and water space because of the demands of AI and all of these other large language models and things that we're doing. They just absolutely chew up the power and the water. Every time you hit enter on ChatGPT, you've just used 1 liter of water. And so that, I think, gives a lot of opportunities. There's a company out there called Vater, VVATER, run by Kevin Gast, an amazing entrepreneur out of Austin. And they're doing amazing things with water for profit. And the water is infinitely cleaner than that stuff we drink now. The stuff we drink now is disgusting, what I learned from Kevin. And they're making amazing solutions in industries you would never anticipate.
Jim, this has been absolutely fascinating, and I can't wait to bring you back on real soon. But in the meantime, how can we find the book, and how can we get in touch with you?
Well, of course, it's on Amazon, and you can go to realenvironmentalist.com and get a whole lot of other assets. Learn more about me at jimbeach.com, and thank you so much for having me.
Jim, absolutely amazing. We'll link in the show notes. As always, you could get in touch with me at syklein.com. I respond to every message from every listener, but you just need to write me that message. So please give me your feedback. Let me know what topics you want to talk about in the future. We're going to squeeze in a quick break here on the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. We'll be right back.